You know, every single time you browse a website, scroll through your social media feed, or watch a video online, there's this incredibly complex, high-speed auction happening in the background just for the ads you see. But what if a huge chunk of those ads are never actually seen by a real person? What if billions of dollars are being stolen in a massive, totally invisible heist? Well, that's ad fraud, and we're about to pull back the curtain on how it all works. Just take a look at this number for a second. $16.4 billion. That's not the budget for some Hollywood blockbuster or the GDP of a small country. Nope, that's the estimated amount of money that advertisers lost to fraudulent online activity in just 1 year. It is a truly staggering figure, right? And it immediately begs the question, how? How is it even possible for that much money to just vanish into thin air in the digital world? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. To really get our heads around this, we first have to define what we're actually talking about. This isn't just a few accidental clicks here and there. Oh no, this is a highly sophisticated global operation. And here's the key word on this slide: deliberate. This isn't an accident. We're talking about any activity specifically designed to trick advertisers into paying for ads that have zero chance of ever reaching a real customer. It completely undermines the entire point of advertising. So who's actually committing this massive heist? Well, the perpetrators are often invisible, almost like digital ghosts haunting the internet. And they generally fall into two main categories. First up, and this is the big one, we've got the bots. Now, these aren't physical robots. They're sneaky little software programs that infect computers and then just surf the web, clicking on links, watching videos, pretending to be a real person. Advertisers end up paying for every single one of those clicks, thinking they're reaching a potential customer, when in reality, they're just paying a piece of code. And then, on the other side of the coin, you have the human element, click farms. While bots are all automated, click farms use real people to do the dirty work. I want you to picture a warehouse, maybe filled with hundreds of low-paid workers, each with a whole rack of phones, just sitting there all day, manually tapping on ads. It's the same scam, but industrialized and powered by humans. Okay, so we've met our digital ghosts, the bots and the human click farms. But their methods for actually stealing the money, they're incredibly clever. They've come up with some really ingenious ways to generate these fake ad impressions without anyone even noticing. Let's look at three of the most common techniques right here. First, pixel stuffing. This is wild. A fraudster literally crams an entire fully functioning ad into a single invisible pixel on a web page. Your browser loads it, the advertiser gets charged, but you see absolutely nothing. Then there's ad stacking. Think of it like a deck of cards. They'll stack, say, 10 ads right on top of each other in a single ad slot. You only see the one on top, but the advertiser gets billed for all 10. And finally, domain spoofing. This is where a fraudster makes their garbage website pretend to be a premium, high-quality site, tricking advertisers into paying top dollar for a totally worthless ad spot. Now, you might think this is just a problem in, established Western markets, but it's a massive global issue. It actually thrives in places where the boom in mobile phone use has outpaced the development of security. Take Indonesia, for example. It's ranked as the second largest country at risk for ad fraud exactly because its mobile market is exploding, which makes it a perfect target. And for the marketers on the ground there, this is not some abstract threat. Look at this data. When they were asked about their biggest challenges, marketers in Indonesia put mobile ad fraud as their #2 concern at 44%. It's a daily, expensive battle that directly hurts their ability to do business. So yeah, it's a huge, sophisticated, global problem. Sounds pretty bleak, right? Well, the good news is the industry is not taking this lying down. A whole new field of cybersecurity has sprung up, dedicated to hunting these digital ghosts and fighting back. This chart here really shows us the front lines of that battle. Right now, about half of companies are actively using outside help to stop fraud. But look at this. Over 23% haven't even thought about it. That shows you there's still a major gap in just how aware and prepared people are. So what does a good defense actually look like? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a multi-layered strategy. First, you have to demand transparency from your partners. Know where your traffic is coming from. Second, you use independent third-party services to double-check that your traffic is real. Third, you bring in the heavy-duty technical defenses. And finally, you just do good old-fashioned due diligence. You have to know who you're doing business with. Let's geek out for a second on those technical defenses. Companies use advanced bot management, which is kind of like a bouncer for their website, keeping all the non-human riffraff out. They use SIVT filtering. That stands for Sophisticated Invalid Traffic, which is designed to catch the really advanced bots, the ones that are experts at faking human behavior. Pre-bid filtering is also crucial. It stops fraud before an ad is even bought. And then there's deep behavior analysis, which uses AI to spot those really subtle fraudulent patterns that would otherwise fly right under the radar.
But here's the thing. You can have the best technology in the world, and it's still not the whole answer. This is an ecosystem problem. It needs everyone, advertisers, publishers, search engines, even law enforcement, to all work together. Without that united front, we're just putting out fires instead of solving the root problem. All right, so if you're a business owner and this is all sounding a bit scary, what can you actually do today? Well, you can start looking into fraud prevention services. A key thing is to find a solution that blocks bots at the server level. That means it stops them before they even get to load your website. You also have to make sure the service can handle both the automated bots and the human click farms. And always look for a provider that will let you test their system out with a free trial first.
So let's bring it all home. Ad fraud doesn't just drain marketing budgets. It completely skews the data that companies rely on to make big decisions, and it erodes trust across the entire digital world. But the path forward is pretty clear. It starts with being aware that this is happening, and it leads to taking decisive action. That's how we can protect businesses and build a healthier, cleaner internet for all of us. And all of this leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. In this constant high-stakes game of cat and mouse between the fraudsters and the industry, who is ultimately responsible for making sure the internet we all use every day is built on a foundation of trust? Is it the platforms, the advertisers, or maybe is it all of us?
Subscribe and visit trueintel.ai for more insights.